So once you have Photoshop open, you need to open your image by going to File and Open. You then need to select the location of the photograph you've taken. Click on it and click Open. Your image will then appear in Photoshop in its natural resolution and orientation. You may need to crop your photo. By doing so, use the side panel crop tool. Just check that the constraints are 5:7 and then drag the margins to your new configuration. Just make sure you've got it positioned where you want it positioned, keeping your 5:7 constraints, and in most instances you'll want that portrait. Once you're happy, click the tick at the top and there you have your new frame. First thing you need to do is duplicate your background. Now if you click on the background you'll get these options. Just hit duplicate layer and OK. You then want to change the background copy from normal to colour dodge, so it looks like that. And then we're actually going to inverse the image. So if you press Command and I, that will inverse. Don't worry, you've lost your image, but we're going to get it back very shortly by clicking Filter. And we're actually going to apply a Gaussian blur. So go to Blur, Gaussian blur, and click. You then have these options to identify how many pixels radius you want to affect. The lower the more sketchy, the higher the more shaded. Roughly 20 will be about right to make it look like a sketch, to have enough shading in there. So click 20 or thereabouts and hit OK. The last thing that we want to do is we want to desaturate. So if you go down to the bottom here and click on a new adjustment layer, select the hue and saturation tab and then reduce the saturation. So we're going to desaturate that by removing all of the colour. And your image should look like that. Now the next thing we want to do then is add a new layer. It's always good to make sure that you add modifications to your image by doing so in different layers. It makes it easier to move the layers or delete the layers. If you double click where it says layer 1, you can actually change that. So we're going to change it to speech bubble so that when we're working we know which layer our speech bubble is in. And I'm actually going to do a thought bubble here. So same way that I would with the speech bubble, I'm going to select the elliptical marquee tool at the top here and I'm going to draw my thought bubble and that will flash. Now I want to draw some little circles coming off it, so I'm going to press and hold the Shift key and draw the circle, and you'll see that both circles now are highlighted, and then I'll just draw one other much smaller one and then release Shift and let go. Now you should have those three areas shimmering like that. If you don't, you might have to start again. Now I want to draw a line around there, so I'm going to go to Edit and Stroke. I'm going to pick the colour black. Okay, and about 3 pixels should be wide enough, otherwise the stroke around might be too thick. So once I've done that, press OK, and there you can see the black border. Now obviously you can still see the background in there, so I want to fill that in. So I'm going to collect the paint bucket tool. I'm going to change the fill colour to white by using the colour picker. Hit OK, and then I'm just going to click in my circles to make those white. All done. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add some text. So I'm going to go back down to the bottom and select another new layer. I'm going to go over to my panel, find the text tool and click that. Now first thing we need to do is draw the text box. So we're going to roughly put the text box around the circle, like so. Up at the top here tells us what colour my text is going to be. Obviously I don't want white because I'm not going to be able to see that, so I'm going to go back to the colour picker, select black and hit OK. This is going to be my font, my text type and my size, so I'll just type and see how that looks. And my villain is going to be thinking something like You'll pay for that! Exclamation mark. Now as you can see, the text isn't really aligned properly, so I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger to start off. I'll try 60. It also looks a little bit too squashy, so I'm going to go along to the side here and expand the panels. And down at the bottom here I've got a few more options. This little icon here is the spacing between the letters. So I'm just going to try 48 and maybe try 60 just to space the text out a bit more, and I'm happy with that. I'm then going to hit my select tool and just move that text into the centre so that I feel a bit more comfortable with that. And there we have it. Thought bubble and image complete.